Hello, welcome back to our Gnostic Self-Knowledge course. Today, the third lesson, which is related to the awakening of the consciousness. We have the false impression that we are awake. So why are we sleeping? Because most of the time we are fascinated. You just wake up, brush your teeth, take a shower, eat your food, have breakfast, and then go to work. Fascinated with the rent that is going to be due by the end of the month, with the car payment, with the house payment, with the kids. Usually the father are fascinated with their children. We are sleeping during the work time. We are sleeping when we're driving. We are fascinated with what we're about to do with the future, with things that will come, things that will happen. We consider to be awake, but in reality, we are all sleeping. Most of humanity lives in a profound sleep, and they rarely notice that. And awakening the consciousness, it is necessary, it is imperative.
We are people that are asleep, unconscious people, and this is what is serious. Unfortunately, we think the best of ourselves and not even suspect that we are asleep.
What is consciousness? Is that state of total presence right here and right now, is an expression of the essence, is an expression of the divine self, the inner being that we have within ourselves. And that inner being is rarely expressing because we are most of the time fascinated with the future, with the past. And that is where the ego takes advantage of our life and keeps requiring us to fulfill its desires. So, awakening the consciousness is, like I said, imperative.
There are exceptional moments when people momentaneously wake up, but those moments are very rare. They can represent an instant of supreme danger during an intense emotion, in some new circumstance, in some new unexpected situation, etc.
When we are out of the vigil state, when we go to bed and actually go to sleep, what happens is that during our dreams, the ego get away from our body just to leave its desire. So most of the time, the ego takes place in our dream and it's just living a continuous life as if we are living during the vigil state. When we go to bed, when we go to have our sleep, our ego repeats during the dream every activity that we do during the day. So if we are not used to ask ourselves, am I sleeping? Am I on the physical plane? Or am I on the astral plane? By habituating ourselves asking these questions during the day, during our sleep, we are going to end up asking the same questions. And when we do that, we will be awakened during our sleep, during our dreams. And that is when we can be able to explore the internal worlds, the astral plane. But as opposed to that, what really lives in our dreams is the ego, because the ego is living as our subconsciousness. Our subconsciousness is a deposit of the ego. So the ego is just most of the time living our daily lives. One of the things that really nowadays leads us to be fascinated is that little device that we use as a cell phone. Unfortunately, people are so caught up with their little device that they are driving, checking their cell phone, and many accidents has taken place, and I'm sure you know some of the examples like that. Sometimes, unfortunately, we see a lot of people in their deathbed in which they say, well, if I had known better, I would have enjoyed my life differently. I would have spent more time with nature. I would have spent more time with my children. I would have worked upon myself, developing a spiritual consciousness. And I congratulate you for being present at this lesson, because it's clear that you have decided to work upon yourself. You have decided that it is about time to awaken your consciousness. That's exactly the reason we are here for.
Sleepy consciousness. How different you would be if you were to wake up. You would know the 7 paths of happiness. The light of your love would shine everywhere. The light of the Spirit would shine. The joyful, the elementals, would sing verses for you in chorus.
So what are the causes of the sleeping of the consciousness? First of all, identification. So what is identification? Well, it's simple. You just see something nice, illusionary. You have an illusion that is something you need. But who needs that? That's the ego, unfortunately. So the ego identifies with something and then leads to the fascination. After the identification comes the fascination. And after the fascination, well, it results in a sleep. Because of that sleep, people end up spending most of their lives identifying with something, and they forget to work upon themselves. They forget that that is an illusion. They forget that what matters is just the inner self. Unfortunately, we see a lot of rich men fascinated with their money, fascinated with possessions. People that are drunk, fascinated with the bars, with the women, with the gambling, with the pleasures of life. We see, unfortunately, people that are fascinated with their jobs, with their position, with their social status. And they keep fascinating and they keep accumulating as if that is essential to life. When in fact, that is not. Our inner being, our inner self does not require any of that. All we need is just right here and right now. All we need is just awaken our consciousness. So the awakening of the consciousness is gradual. As we eliminate the defects, we will gradually awaken the consciousness. But keep in mind that this is not for the curious. This is not for the impatient. If you sow a seed today, you are not going to get a tree tomorrow. Not even in the next month. So it is important that you give time, but you have to be persistent. You have to gradually work every day in order to obtain the awakening of the consciousness. Awakening the consciousness leads us to a direct experience of the real. Working upon ourselves grants us the possibility to get to know who we really are. Because according to the previous lesson, we don't know who we are yet, right? We have this false personality. We believe we are this false personality. In fact, we are a lot more special than that. Another benefit of awakening the consciousness is we stop in making the same mistakes. We already know that we bring issues from the past lives, right? That the ego comes back and throughout existence, and after existence and existence. When we are sleeping as a habit, we will ask ourselves, am I on the physical plane or am I on the astral plane? Am I dreaming? So it is important that we ask ourselves constantly during the day, am I sleeping? Am I in the physical plane or am I on the astral plane? Because we never know, right? You can tell me that you have dreamed and I'm sure you thought you were awake. We are all happy, right? Most of us, when we are dreaming, we don't know whether we are dreaming or whether we are just living on the physical plane. So what is the tip for that? If you get used to, during the video state, to ask yourself whether you were dreaming or not. When you were dreaming, you're going to ask yourself the same question. And then to make sure, you just jump with the intention of floating. Just give a little jump. And if you float, of course you were dreaming. And that is a wonderful experience because you can then investigate the eternal words. You can investigate all of the possibilities of the real. Because what is real?
This book is a practical guide to lead you towards your own conscious experience of the dream world.
So, the soul key, S-O-L. The S stands for the subject. And as the subject, you're going to ask yourself, who am I? Not that I am Pedro or I am Marcos or I am John. Who am I in reality? And then there comes the O. And the O stands for the object. And the object is, what am I doing? That's the question you have to ask yourself constantly. What am I doing? Well, who am I? If I ask right now, well, I am a person that is right here giving this lecture, giving this class for somebody that is across the screen paying attention. What am I doing? Well, I'm just working with the intention of awakening your consciousness. And then, as the last letter, the L stands for the location. That location is in the sense of, where am I? Now, where am I physically or in an astral plane? Where am I? Am I here? Am I dreaming? Am I on the physical plane? Am I on the astral plane? The more you practice that during the day, the more you're going to get used to it during your sleep, during the dreams. Remember, soul, S-O-L, subject, object, and location. Who am I? What am I doing? Where am I? I see you next time.